All right, welcome back and buckle up because we had 2 full-packed weeks at Ben's Sisters Garden RV Resort in Sisters, Oregon.
So we spent 2 weeks at Ben's Sisters Garden RV Resort. It was really nice. Beautifully landscaped sites, lots of grass areas, some trees, picnic tables between each site. They had
their own little pond with grass around
Yeah,
it.
they had a really nice pond with a fountain in it. Some angry geese that I met on a run. So just watch out for the geese, especially if they have babies. They're a little aggressive. And then they have a pool, hot tub that we went in a couple times. They have laundry room, a little general store. They do receive mail, so you can send mail to the front office and they'll text you that you have a package so you can come pick it up. And overall, really nice RV resort. We had full hookups and it's pretty centrally located to a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do for hiking, biking, and exploring.
And one of the cool things that they do is if you need a propane refill, you just leave your tank right at the front of your site, and all day long from like, I don't know, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or something, they're always driving around. They'll pick up your propane tank, they'll fill it up for you, they'll bring it back, and then they'll just charge it right to your card on file.
Same thing with trash. They say just leave it in the front of your site and they'll swing by on their golf carts and pick it up.
Yep. So that was really convenient.
The trees, I don't know if they were cherry trees or apple trees, but the trees between the sites were all in bloom, so they were all pinks and purples and whites, so it was really pretty and probably one of my top 5 places we've stayed so far. It was really enjoyable.
I agree with that.
They also have mini golf.
Which we didn't play.
I saw other people playing, but they have a cute little mini golf course.
A lot of mountain biking around, so you're able to take your bike just down the road and
right from your RV.
Access to all of these trails, which was really nice. So speaking of, we decided that we wanted to go explore a little bit on the e-bikes and see if they were built for mountain biking trails or not. And fortunately, the trails that we stumbled upon were amazing in our opinion. They were probably the smoothest dirt, single track, mountain biking trails I've ever seen. Yeah,
I'm a pretty horrible mountain biker and this was very nice, really enjoyable. I was like laughing and smiling for the first like 20 minutes after we found these trails because I was like, this is great. I was like, if this is mountain biking, I get why people like it.
So the thing was, it was flat, hard packed, and
just very
like
windy.
Perfectly windy,
Through
so it
trees
wasn't just
and
straight.
fields.
It wasn't over any technical stuff. There wasn't a ton of roots, rocks, boulders.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean some sections had some rocks like yay big, but
if I could do it, you could do it too.
Yeah.
We were able to go right after work when we went a couple days, so that was nice because there wasn't that many people out there, but just be careful because there are plenty of other bikers that use them, and some people come in from the town of Sisters and they just walk the trails. One place I had read about and really wanted to visit was Skylight Cave, and I knew it was going to be out there in the middle of nowhere.
CeLynn brought us on another one of her off-roading adventures with the dually.
The road is a little more rough than I expected, but on our way out we saw like a Toyota Corolla coming at us.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know
thing
how
must
he
have
made it out
bottomed
there.
out a lot.
Yeah. So just be wary, very rough roads to get there. Do your research on how to get there because I've read that sometimes Apple Maps or Google Maps can bring you in the wrong direction or on the wrong roads that are even more rough than what we were on. So just try to do your research ahead of time, and there's no service out there, so make sure you screenshot directions or write them down ahead of time.
Yeah, and when we say rough, it's just a lot of it's like washboard, just like or they've got like
big rocks
that you have to just navigate around. So the Corolla, the little sedan, it was probably fine, but they were taking it extremely slow, and it is many miles out there.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind if you've got a low clearance vehicle.
So they say that when you go to Skylight Cave, you should go between like 9 and 11 a.m. because what it's known for is these 3 holes in the ceiling where the sun comes through and basically creates these very cool sunbeams. And it is a little dusty in there, so it's just straight columns of light that come down. It looks really neat. Unfortunately, with our work schedule, we could only go after work, so we didn't get to see that, but just in general, the cave was really cool.
Yes.
So when you park there, we were a little confused where it was because it said park here And then there was a trail to the right and a trail in front of us.
Yeah, so you'll come up this dirt road. It's at a pretty steep incline, or like going up the hill, and you'll see is it a national forest sign?
Maybe, I don't know.
Like right in front of you that says like welcome to your national forest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the road literally takes a 90-degree right turn. And right there is where CeLynn's talking about. There'll be a sign that says park here.
So you want to park there and hop over the log that blocks the rest of the road, going straight. And
where the national forest sign is.
yeah, continue straight, and then the cave will be on your right after like quarter mile, maybe. Not even.
Probably an eighth of a mile. And there's big signs when
Yeah.
you get there, so you can't miss it.
And so it is a seasonal cave. I don't know when exactly it opens, but I think it's sometime in March. But they basically have a big metal ladder that they'll put out when people are allowed in, and they'll pull it out for bats. Basically, will
Hibernate
in the cave or come into the cave, and they just want to limit interactions with humans and bats. So if the ladder is not there, just please be respectful, don't enter the cave. But if it is there, then you just climb down the cave, or climb down into the cave, and then it goes two directions. Basically, Skylight Cave the skylights are on your left, and then if you go to your right, it actually goes a very long way, and we explored that way as well. Make sure you have flashlights, headlamps. Just having your phone is going to be really rough.
Yes.
The floor in there was really tough to walk on.
It's so dark and like dusty that like a thin layer of dust comes up. And even with a bright light, sometimes it's a little trippy if you're like stepping on the ground or not.
Yeah.
It really threw me for a loop.
It's a lot of like lava rock that's like bulging out here and there, so it's easy to slip and roll an ankle. So just be careful and try to bring ample lighting. We checked out where the skylights are. That was really neat because it just like drops the light into the cave. Taking pictures under that is really cool. I know during the peak hours when the sky or the light columns are there, I've heard it can get pretty busy with photographers and stuff. So you may not be the only ones there, but if you go in the off hours, I think your chances are a lot better to be the only ones there.
Right.
And then we went back and went to the right hand side of the cave, and that just goes a really long way. I think this whole lava tube is 900 feet.
Yes.
So that way it was cool. It was low ceilings. You're kind of like going around some boulders and stuff, having to duck down, and then it will open it back up again, and it was really cool.
I think that was my favorite side of this cave because when we first shined the light on it, it almost looked like you were looking up at the most clear night sky you've ever seen, and there was all these like little flickering lights almost that looked like stars. And we got close to the rock and realized they were just water drops that were refracting.
Refracting.
I don't know why that's a tongue twister for me. The water drops were refracting the light, so when your light from your headlamp hits it, all the water drops
Looks glittery.
glow, and it's so cool.
It was neat. One of the first lava tubes I read about was Redmond Cave. So we drove there after work one day, and that one was pretty cool. It's nothing compared to Skylight Cave, but it's basically a big shallow entrance, and you go in and you can go a little to the left or straight.
Right.
But it's a neat cave. It's worth checking out if you're in the area, but I don't know if I would make a special trip for that one.
Yeah, honestly, like that was our first experience with lava tube cave.
Yeah, so we thought it was pretty cool at the time.
But if you have the opportunity to also do Skylight Cave, I would almost say skip the...
Yeah, I would. Skip Redmond Cave.
Yeah, and just check out the Skylight Cave. That one was way cooler in my opinion.
Yeah. So one of the sites near Bend, Oregon that's pretty widely known is Smith Rock State Park, which it's unlike anything around it. It's basically a desert landscape and has very cool rock formations. It's extremely well known for rock climbing and bouldering. And just be wary when it was like 80 degrees. So it gets, I think in the summer it gets extremely hot, so I wouldn't plan to go in the summertime. But there are also rattlesnakes there. So we did see one of those, and we saw two other snakes. One of them, I don't know what it was, but it was massive. Like, we're talking like that big around, like several, 3-4 feet long. It was the biggest snake I've ever seen in the wild. That spooked me a bit, because we didn't see it until we were like right next to it, but it wasn't a rattler. But Smith Rock, we did Misery Loop. Mm-hmm. We were going to attempt something much longer than that, but we got to the top of Misery Loop, and
CeLynn tends to be over ambitious for hiking and have to rein her back in from time to time.
Yeah. Misery Loop was really cool though. It is a straight up climb all the way to the top. Lots
Very
of
steep.
switchbacks. But at the top, it's got a very cool view.
Yeah.
It's a really unique state park. I think it's $10 for parking.
When you get to the top, it's like the only mountainous area all around except for way far away. So when you're looking out at the view, it's just like all flat and kind of like plains. And you can see all the agriculture going on. You can see all the different like neighborhoods and stuff. And then in the background, you can see all the other huge mountains like Sisters and Washington, and what else did we say was around?
I think those are the main ones you see from there. The Sisters.
And they were all snow covered, so just seeing this whole green lush kind of floor below you and then looking way out, seeing all these snow covered mountains is really, really spectacular.
Yeah.
And from right there, they have what's called Monkey Face.
Monkey Face, yeah.
So at the right angle, if you look at this column of rock, it kind of looks like a monkey.
I think you can climb up it.
Yeah, we saw some carabiners and quick draws and stuff. They're all connected, so somebody had been climbing there, which is really neat.
But Smith Rock is really beautiful. If you don't want to do Misery Loop, you can just walk along the river, and that alone looks it was really nice. When we came back, we walked along the river for a ways.
But that's where all the snakes are. And
Yeah,
if you're
so-
like me and you don't like snakes, yeah.
Just be wary.
That's like the one thing I can't do, snakes. So we'll touch on it real quick. There's a lot of rock hounding that is in the area, which is you basically show up to these designated areas and you can take, I don't know how many pounds a year.
It's like 25 pounds per day or 250 pounds per year.
That of rocks or gemstones or something. So CeLynn wanted to go see if we could get our hands on some jasper, just because we thought it looked cool. The roads to get out there, a little rough, and one of the paths that we had to go down is like an old wagon road, they call it. It's wide enough for one vehicle, and I got a little too close to one side because they had some really deep grooves, and we have a dually, so we couldn't ride in them, so I had to kind of cheat to one side. And the trees out there in the desert are not forgiving like they are in New England. So, yes.
We learned our lesson.
I scratched from headlight to tail light, probably 3 to 5 scratches all the way down the side of the truck.
Our poor truck's been through it.
If you know me, I take very good care of my vehicles, so that was totally out of character for me. So
We didn't notice until the next day. We were
CeLynn didn't
leaving.
notice because it was her side.
Yeah, so well, we got home, we were starving, we ran inside, started cooking and stuff, and then the next day we came out to the truck and I was like, what is that? I thought someone keyed our truck. I thought someone else did it, and then Brad was like, oh my god, it was that tree.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Yeah,
so
not
we're
great.
gonna try to buff it out.
We'll see.
If it works, we'll show you guys what works. So if you ever have scratches, you'll know how to fix them.
Or if you have any recommendations on how to fix scratches, let us know.
Recommendations. I hope it was just the clear coat. I can just buff it out.
Our truck is black too, so
Yeah.
nice long white scratch.
Hey, if you guys find this content helpful, please like and subscribe to help support our channel so that we can continue to deliver content for all of you. And it also lets us know that we're on the right track. So thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it.
On Sunday, we decided to head east past Bend to the Painted Hills, which is part of the John Day Fossil Bed National Monument.
Quite the mouthful.
It's one of 4 or 5 different sites that are part of that national monument. And it was really neat. It was a rainy day, so it was a good way to go somewhere where there wasn't like an extended view, but it was just kind of walking amongst these really colorful hills. It's a trip out there. There's not much else out there. But if you have the time, I thought it was really neat. There is like a boardwalk trail that brings you between these like really red, vibrant, colorful hills. We really liked the one that hiked to the top basically, which was an overlook of the whole area.
And from there you can see at a distance all the different sites or little like hikes around. So if you only have time to do one thing, highly recommend you do the hike where you can get up in elevation and kind of overlook everything.
It's a hike up, but it's gradual.
Yeah, it's not very long either. I think it was a
there's-
half an hour.
Yeah, and I think there's only 5 trails in the whole park, so we did all but one of them because from the top of this view we could see the other one and where it went, and it was a pretty short one.
Yeah.
So 4 out of 5 wasn't bad, but they're all a little different, which was cool. And even on the way in and out of this area, you can see some other hills that are pretty colorful, and it was unique for sure. Our very first day there, we did a little driving tour, and we went to Koosah and Sahalie Falls. A really pretty trail, really pretty waterfalls. It was kind of busy, but it was also the weekend.
Yes.
And then after stopping at those two, we went to check out Tamalich or Blue Pool, which was a longer hike.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I think, what was it, 4 miles?
Round trip, I believe so. Yeah.
Bit of a longer hike, but in my opinion, so worth it. I know photos of it circulate online, and people are like, oh, you gotta go swim in it, and they want pictures swimming in it and stuff. It's like a consistent 30-something degree pool of water, so people end up actually getting rescued because they're like either hypothermic or just freak out because it's so cold. So wouldn't recommend swimming in it, but just hiking to it and overlooking it is really cool and very worth it.
Yeah. And it's a natural spring too, so that explains why it's so cold.
Yeah. Parking was kind of insane. There was a lot of people there. I mean, this was midday on a Saturday, so... Or Sunday?
Sunday.
It was midday on a Sunday. So, would recommend trying to go during the week or very early. Actually, before we went to all these, we stopped at Clear Lake, and that was really beautiful as well. The color of that lake was really crazy, and if we had a lot more time, I would have wanted to like paddleboard on it. Yeah. Because the color was just pretty impressive.
It was unreal.
After spending so much time in the desert, I love winter back in New England, and I was kind of sad that we missed winter, but to our not really surprise, we thought this might be the case, but we ran into a lot of snow. So any hiking...
For the higher peaks.
Yeah, any hiking that I had on my list, I knew coming this time of year to Oregon was going to be a stretch because it was probably still going to be snowy up in these mountains. But I wanted to explore the Sisters and get near Broken Top and just see some of like the sights to see in the high alpine near Bend. Right. So we decided to buy some snowshoes. Yeah, because neither of us have a good pair.
But one of them was on sale.
One of them was on sale, and mine were not, but that's okay. It was worth it because I don't have a good pair of snowshoes that have grip around the whole frame. Zero grip. Yeah.
It would be flat and she would still be slipping and sliding.
My snowshoes at home are meant for flat ground, and that's about it. Yeah. So we made the investment, and our first maiden voyage with them was our attempt to get near Broken Top and No Name Lake, which is just below Broken Top. We did not get anywhere near that. But
and why is that?
So I tried to do as much research as I possibly could, but I'm finding it really hard to find information on road closures and openings. Yeah. They're not easily found, so I did as much research as I could. I was like, I think this road is open because I saw somewhere that it was. We packed up, headed out with our snowshoes and big packs, and got there and the road was closed. And
it was 5 miles to the trailhead. And then the hike we wanted to do was 6 miles, and
it was the Tam MacArthur
how much gain?
Trail.
Wasn't it like 1,700 feet
like
or
that.
more?
Something like that.
So from that gate, a 6-mile hike would have turned into 16 miles.
Yeah.
So we decided to turn around, go back to the campground, pick up our bikes, and then go back to the parking lot, put our backpacks on, strap our snowshoes to it, get on our bikes, pedal
as far as we
2.5 miles until it turned into all snow.
Yep.
Locked up our bikes to a tree, snowshoed 2.5 miles to the trailhead. We're pretty tired at that point, and we're looking up. Well, actually, we made it to a lake.
Yeah.
Where there's some campgrounds when it's, the regular season. And that lake was gorgeous in and of itself.
Yeah.
So that's when we're like, okay, we'll stop, we'll get a little bite to eat, and then we'll hike up. Started hiking up, and I think we probably got halfway to Broken Top. Yeah. Would you say? We got to the peak of this kind of like
knoll.
Little knoll. But looking back down onto the lake from that high up is...
It was really pretty.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The lake is just so blue, and you couldn't see that color from down below. along the lake's edge, but from the top looking down, it was really pretty. And it was in the shape of a heart.
It was.
Which is kind of cute.
But it gave a really pretty view of the mountains around us, so
yeah.
It was really nice.
If you're going to do snowshoeing in the spring, highly recommend going earlier in the morning when everything is still firmer. Mm-hmm. So with all the hiking that we've been doing, we've definitely been having more and more of a sweet tooth and haven't had really any snacks in the camper because we don't really buy snacks to begin with.
Yeah.
Haven't had any ice cream in a while. We did see that they had a Dairy Queen in town in Sisters, and I was rummaging through the center console here and found a Dairy Queen gift card. Thanks, Mom and Dad. So we decided to get a Blizzard, and that was probably a mistake getting the first one because...
And we got it for our dinner. That was our dinner. That night.
Yeah, and I think a couple days later, that ended up being our dinner again.
It was
we
like
were watching TV.
7 o'clock. We're in PJs. I was in PJs.
Yeah, and we were both like, oh man, we wish we had some ice cream right now. So I looked at CeLynn, I was like, you want some Dairy Queen? And it was literally like her bedtime, and she's like, yeah, kinda.
We've also been camping in some pretty remote areas, so the fact that there was a Dairy Queen nearby was like
10 minutes down
unheard
the road.
of for us lately. So, yeah.
So yeah, we got another Blizzard.
Moderation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so all in all, I think Sisters, right outside of Bend, is a fantastic area to go check out. Mm-hmm. And as always, I want to thank you guys for checking in. Stay tuned because in another week, we'll be dropping our boondocking video at Winoga Snow Park, just outside of Bend as well.
Yep.
And there's a lot of cool stuff coming up, so...
And more snowshoeing.
Yeah, more snowshoeing.
See you next time.
Bye.